I think we're live. Good evening, everyone. Hi. Bear with me while I just wait for people to come online. And I'm going to make a quick post on Facebook to say that we're live. Where are we? Here. Let me just post that. Okay. Kolla, good. Is anyone with us this evening? I'm just going to post to Facebook quickly. Okay, there are people coming on. Hi, hi Roberto. Hi, darling. Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Just to say, we are live on YouTube, so do join us there. The connection seems to be better than on Facebook, but you can always give me feedback. And just to say, in case you have trouble commenting, what you want to do is, you know where the buttons are, like, dislike, okay, the like button is good, the dislike button is bad, and the button next to the dislike button is the live chat button. It's called chat in diretta, or something like that. I've forgotten what it's called in Italian, but it's the live chat button, and this is the button that you want to hit in order to join the live chat. I've put in the description the link to the live streaming on YouTube, so see you there. Bye everyone, see you on YouTube. Bye. Okay, who's with us today? Hi Laura, how are you doing today? Okay, now I can say hello properly. Roberta, darling, how are you doing? I hope you're well. 200 kilometers away from me, far away. How's Laura? What you up to, Laura? Did you do anything interesting today? And okay, let's just see who else is joining us, and then we'll get cracking. What did everyone get up to today? Hi, Vincenzo. Good evening. How are you doing? I should look over there because I've got the webcam in the back and your comments here. And we have Lisa Baby. How are you doing? Thank you for watching the video today and for commenting. I did notice that. And we have Elisa, and we have, well, still, is that the same Laura? Yeah, the same Laura. So everyone is doing fine. You've all had a nice day. I've had a really hectic day. Very, very hectic day. So tomorrow is Friday, and thank goodness for that. I'm glad when, like, you know, the weekend is upon us, and I'm planning to chill a little bit. Sounds strange, right? Like in a very kind of like, you know, in a calmer period such as this, to be kind of craving even more calm. Okay, we have Tiziano and we have Antonella. Good evening to you. And who else? And we have Roberta, and we have Do It America. Okay, I hadn't seen you on Facebook unless you use a different username on Facebook. Okay, I think we'll get started. We've got people joining, and today I wanted to talk to you about pronunciation, to hopefully give some tips for those of you who would like to work on their pronunciation. Obviously, I can't judge what your pronunciation is like because I've never spoken to you except for Roberto, and Roberto has a good accent. I've told you that before, didn't I, darling? Yeah, Roberto has a good accent. So, and I mean, to be honest, with accents, when we're grown up, when we're adults, it's very, very difficult to get rid of your accent. I mean, you've heard me speak very little Italian, but I have an accent in Italian, and it's probably never gonna go away. We can work on our accent to reduce it, but it never truly goes away unless we learn the language, like, you know, when we're children. And I think up to our teenagers, probably we can. And then, like, if, like, when we kind of learn a language or we try to improve our accent in it, once we're adults, it becomes much, much harder, but we can reduce it. And what's much more important than accent is pronunciation and being understood. So this is kind of like the aim of kind of like working on our accent, is to be understood better and to avoid misunderstandings, okay? Because that does sometimes happen, especially as, like, in the English language, sometimes like you have exactly the same sounds, and the vowel sound, if you change it from a long sound to a short sound, like you end up with two different words, and one of them is acceptable and the other one is not acceptable. I'm thinking, for example, about the word sheet, okay? For example, a sheet of paper, so that's with a long accent, with a long vowel, sorry, but if you turned it into a short sound, then that wouldn't be acceptable, okay? Then like you end up with a totally different word, okay? But it does happen. Okay, so we have Fabio as well, and Roberta. I don't know if I said hello earlier. Okay, so let's get started. I think I've set this up properly. Let's see what happens now. Ta-da! Can you see my screen and me? Oh, but now I can't see your comments. Bummer. Okay. Hi, Antonino. So I'm just going to wait and see. So can you all... Hold on. No, you can't see my screen. Can you all see my screen? This is kind of what I wanted to know. I'm just going to watch here. I'm just going to look. Okay, so you can see my screen, right? Okay, so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the lesson on my mobile phone so I can see your comments, because I can either see Word and myself, or I can see you. So so I'm just going to set this up now. See my screen, right? Okay, so now you can see me. And Tiziana is saying, yep. Hi Tiziana, how are you doing? Hi Daniela. And Laura is also saying she can see. Okay, good. So let's read the first sentence together to see what happens in English. And like I said, I don't know what your accents are like. You might have had all of this information previously, so I'm sorry if I'm just repeating what you already know. I hope some of you will come out like with some useful tips today. So the first sentence says, so I'm just going to read it word for word, okay? I am stuck on an island. Oh, sorry, I should go here. Where is it? Okay, so I am stuck on an island east of Africa. Okay, so that's if I were to read it word for word. But of course, like in English, what happens is, like in every other language, we try to connect sounds, because if we like spoke words word for word, sound for sound, then we would sound very robotic and we wouldn't sound natural at all. I'm just going to keep an eye on my phone to make sure that I'm not messing up what you can see. Okay, so what would happen, what native speaker would do with the first two words, it's something that's probably all of you do already. You don't say I am, but you say I am. So what happens here is something called an intrusion, because you have a sound that's introduced between the two words to link them together. That's not actually there as a letter. Okay, we just introduce it into the pronunciation to just kind of like make our pronunciation more smooth, and to not like kind of constantly have to do this like glottal stop. So we do I am, okay? And that's kind of natural, and everyone tends to do that anyway. I am stuck on an island east of Africa. Then what happens is that whenever you have like a word finishing with a consonant sound and the next word beginning with a vowel sound, and we're not talking about letters, we're always talking about sounds, then you always kind of link these together. So what would happen to this sentence is, you go like this, you link all of them together, because each one of these is finishing with a consonant sound and the next word is starting with a vowel sound. So you see, like all of these words in my pronunciation would become one sound. I am stuck on an island east of Africa. I am stuck on an island east of Africa. Okay, I am stuck on an island east of Africa. So you kind of like tend to, maybe like now I'm exaggerating, it has to be natural, but potentially you could connect all of these sounds together, because like I said, with every word ending in a consonant sound, potentially you could link the next word to it to kind of like have this smooth flow of your pronunciation. I am stuck on an island east of Africa. So especially like if you had to connect something here, I would say to connect an island, and also like I found it natural to say on an island, on an island. Okay, so all of these three words got kind of like linked together through the sounds. East of Africa, east of Africa, east of Africa. So these three, like naturally you kind of like link them together as well. I'm just going to stop for a second and see if anyone are commenting. Okay, everyone's saying yes I can, yes I can, yes I can. Sorry, I'm just going to change how I view what okay, chat dal vivo. Okay, everyone is saying yes I can, perfect. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to draw your attention to is the pronunciation of the word of. It's not of, it's of. And there is a sound that, I don't know if I've mentioned before, it's called the schwa sound, which you may be familiar with. I just want to show you, hold on, I'm just going to give you the symbol for the schwa sound because you will find it in dictionaries. So hold on. Okay, oh, I'm going to paste it into the document. So I've just looked in the Cambridge Dictionary, the pronunciation for the word of, and you will find if you look up the word of in the dictionary, you will find this phonetic kind of like description or transcription rather of the word of. So this is how they tell you ought to pronounce it. This symbol here is the symbol for the schwa sound, and any vowel in the English language and the letter Y can take the sound of the schwa. And the schwa sound is a really weak sound, it's not stressed. And it's a sound that you make by like very lightly opening your mouth, very, very lightly like this. And like really relaxing your muscles and just doing like, This is the schwa sound. And if you look at, so I'm still, okay, you can still see, schwa sound, yes, saying Daniela, good, of, good. So this, like other sounds that, like other words that we pronounce as like a really weak sound in sentences are words like un. So it's not an, it's un. I'm stuck on an island east of Africa. So this is a schwa sound, this is a schwa sound. And it kind of like tends to happen really naturally when you kind of like speak more fluently, that you kind of like some sounds just become really, really weak. Okay, so everything seems clear so far. Then the next one, there are. So what happens here is you link these two through the sounds of r. Okay, there are some trees, but they aren't big and there isn't much shelter. The other thing that happens in English, which I'm sure you notice when English speakers speak Italian, is like the double sounds that you get in words, like especially double consonants, are never pronounced like double. They was like pronounced as single sounds. And that happens also to, you know, like words that may end like with a similar sound, like one sound and then next word starting with the same or with a similar sound. These words as well, we tend to pronounce the sound just once. So much shelter just merges into one sh sound. Much shelter, much shelter. Okay, so it's just, we pronounce this once and not twice. This is why like we tend to speak a little bit strangely as well, like just pronouncing, I don't know, like davvero, davvero. So this is like how I tend to do it, like, you know, just one V sound, even though I know there is a double consonant and I should pronounce it twice. Okay, then I've built, so this is like another like word that's really always kind of weak, like here. I only ever emphasize the A if I want to like emphasize that I only have one thing of this. Like if someone says to me, you have many pens, and I say, no, I have a pen, like a, you know, like one, or like a specific pen that I'm talking about. It's only like for emphasis that you would emphasize a like that. Okay, I have a small house and a big garden. Another thing that happens is, so the H is often problematic for Italians because like Italian speakers, like many, tend to insert the H when it's not there. So like in front of vowels, when there is no H sound in English, many Italian speakers tend to insert the H. So for example, like instead of ear, they tend to say here. instead of art, they tend to say heart, you know, and it sounds like similar to other words in English. And so, like, it doesn't always, you know, obviously like sound like a real existing word. But when you don't see the H, there is never an H sound. But sometimes there is an H in the word, like for example in hour, as you all know, and then we don't pronounce that. So the opposite happens of you see the H, but you don't really pronounce it. But in words like house, where obviously we do pronounce the H, sometimes, like in the middle of sentences, we can just skip the H sound. So I could, for example, say, I've built a small house. I've built a small house. So like instead of saying I've built a small house, if I'm speaking really quickly, I could just skip the H sound. It's not obligatory, but it does happen. We'll see it especially to like pronouns. You know, we tend to skip the H sound there as we're speaking quickly. And then like these words, like with a. So always like kind of become one sound. I've built a small house with a big garden, one G sound, okay? So this is what I was referring to earlier. Whenever you see double consonants, you always pronounce them once. So one of the things that we often hear is funny. It's never funny in English, it's funny. So it's just one N sound. The same for yellow, okay? It's yellow and not yellow, okay? So this is something, for example, that I always try to teach children to kind of like to ignore, like in writing never, but like when you see it and you pronounce it, to ignore in your pronunciation the second consonant because it's never pronounced in English. Okay, I'm just going to look at, so I can't see any more comments from you guys. Last one was from Matilda. Okay, and then what else? Again, like here, I have a lot to eat, especially coconuts and bananas. I have a lot to eat, especially coconuts and bananas. What happens here between like to and eat is, I don't know if you hear it, if you can hear it, I have a lot to eat, is I insert the W sound, even though there's no W. It's just much easier than saying I have a lot to eat, because then I have to do this glottal stop. So I'm like, I have a lot to eat, especially coconuts and bananas. And the and, it's like just becomes I have a lot to eat, especially coconuts and bananas. And same here, like family and friends is always family and friends, always. So it's never like family and friends. I miss my family and friends. I miss my family and friends. And then this one, my boat's radio is broken. Okay, so this one here, my boat's radio is broken. Also here, my boat's radio is broken, I would insert the W sound. Again, none of this is obligatory, but you might hear people kind of like inserting strange sounds into words where they don't exist, and I'll come to the one that might confuse you the most in a minute. So we had the Y sound that we insert, and we have the W sound that we insert. My boat's radio is broken. So again, like my boat's radio is broken. I can't get in contact with the outside world. Why did I write that? I must have had like a reason. I can't get in contact with the outside world. I've forgotten why I've written that. I wanted to say something about this, but I can't remember. Or maybe I just wrote it because it's like a good story. Okay, now there is a man on the island. Okay, then as you know, the is always the when there's like a vowel sound behind it. Okay, so on the island, there is a man on the island. And then look what happens to these two words. I think this is like when people often like think, how does that happen? I saw him yesterday with a woman. I saw him yesterday with a woman. So I saw him becomes I saw him. And so the R intrusion is something that often confuses people. Like why I saw him becomes I saw him. I saw him. It's much more natural to say I saw him than to say I saw him. Like it just takes me longer to say that. And another word where the R intrusion happens is something like drawing. Okay, so I did a drawing. People say drawing rather than say drawing. I did a drawing, so they tend to insert the R here as well. So if you hear these sounds, like, you know, and they might, like, you might hear native speakers speak like that, and it might confuse you. Like, it's just something that happens naturally, that people insert sounds into words because it just helps them to speak in a more fluent way. Okay. Yes, Tiziano is saying, could you pronounce man, and men? Okay, man, the singular, men is the plural. Okay, man, men. And actually, like, you know, there is something called the phonetic chart. I don't know if you guys have ever studied it, but we could look at it. So it's really, really helpful for pronunciation, because it really shows you, like, with all of these sounds, how to open your mouth position, like how much to draw your jaw, whether to keep your lips loose, or whether, like, to tighten them like that, or whether to, like, do this, you know, like the this kind of like butting kind of like movement. So we can do that if you would like if you'd like to look at the phonetic chart together, we could do that. The second word Tiziano said is bad. This is really bad. And bed. Bed is, you know, the place we like. It could be like a really bad bed, a bad bed, like a bed that's no good. Okay, so this is actually a really good question that Tiziano says, because I think what confuses people is the American pronunciation, the sound of the A, because the sound of the A, for example, in a word like apple. Okay, so I would say apple, but an American might say, and I'm really bad at this, I apologize in advance for my bad American pronunciation, but I think like an American would say something like apple, and I like lots of learners of English, so even like in words like marry, okay, so I would say marry, and so lots of people tend to pronounce the A like an sound, like this. So they say apple, they say cat, okay, so for cat they say cat, and it's never apple and it's never cat, so it should be apple, cat, like that. So it's like, it's a very difficult sound to pronounce, and this is why it then becomes, as you know, the question by Tiziano shows, like this confusion. Is it more like an S sound, like bad, as in bed? So people say bed when they mean to say like bad, like in the American way. And I think, yeah, this is where the confusion comes from, like from the American pronunciation of the letter A. And do you like, Tiziano, do you want me to pronounce, do I like, do you like? Do you like? Do you like? So, but maybe you're asking because of the pronunciation of the D. So like there's some people who tell you, I don't know, like I've seen these videos on YouTube, like if you have something like Drew, they say you should like pronounce it like J, like Drew. But I always think like these sounds have to come really naturally, because people then risk pronouncing it like this, which is Jew, and that means something else, like someone who, you know, is like of the Jewish religion. So I've seen a lot of these videos that kind of like say when you see drive, say it's jive, but it's not jive, because jive is this and this is a totally separate word, so it's not, doesn't have the same meaning. So like with the D sound, if that's why you're asking, Tiziano, just like pronounce it like a regular D, as you would like in Italian, and if depending on the letter that follows it, it kind of becomes slightly adjusted and becomes more like J, then that happens naturally, and then it's like a natural kind of adaptation to the sound. But we mustn't ever force it and substitute the D sound with a different sound just because we think native speakers speak like that, because then it might sound like a totally different kind of sound, if that makes sense. Okay. So Laura is saying, I used it when I was at university a long time ago. Antonino is saying, do you mean the IPA? I'm meaning it's something called the phonetic chart, and it's by a guy called Adrian Underhill, and he's a fantastic like expert in pronunciation, and we could look at that if that's something that, you know, you may be interested in. Okay, Tiziano is saying some people say, do you like? Do you like? Do you like? So is that like different from how I'm saying it? I say, do you like? Yeah, so it's more like, so the do is more like do. Do you like? Not D. Do you like? Do you like? Do you like? So that would be like the answer to your question. Okay, so I saw him yesterday with a woman, and then here we have like another example of the age that can disappear if you want to, okay? He told her, okay, not he told her, he told her to go upstairs, okay? So what happened here? He told her to go up the hill, sorry, not upstairs, to go up the hill, okay? He told her to go up the hill. But you see here, I did pronounce the H because it doesn't disappear naturally. He told her to go up the hill. Okay, I couldn't say like he told her to go up the hill. It would be much more difficult, okay? He told her to go up the hill. She climbed very slowly. She climbed very slowly. Sometimes what happens is like last sounds get lost. She climbed very slowly. So I know I said she climbed, but I said it like, because it's like followed by this like next consonant sound, it was barely there. She climbed very slowly. I don't know if you hear it, because like the B isn't pronounced anyway in this word. She climbed very slowly, and it's like the T sound disappeared as well. So it's like as if that part just simply didn't exist at all. And then here, he looks strange again, two like exact same sounds and I only pronounce them once. He looks strange. I don't trust him. So I don't trust him. I didn't pronounce the H at all. I don't trust him. Please help me. Help me, please. So whereas here, see, please help me, or please help me. Help me, please. At the beginning of the sentence, I would always pronounce the H sound. Send someone to rescue me. Send someone to rescue me. Send someone to rescue me. So I don't know if that's been helpful at all. So I just tried to kind of like give you some hints to what happens when people kind of like, yes, like pronounce things in a natural way that flows and connect the sounds, which is probably why it makes it so hard as well for English learners to understand native speakers, because like, you know, the way things are pronounced are often so different from how they look like, you know, what they look like on paper. I'm just going to read your comments. Laura is saying she's used it. Yeah, we said that when she was at university a long time ago. And Patrizia is saying, hi, I should, I'd, and negative, I shouldn't. So I'd is I would, it's not I should. I would, so I'd do it, I'd ask him, okay? I should, I'd, and negative, did you just want me to pronounce negative? Or I should, I shouldn't, I would, I wouldn't. I don't know if I've understood your question. And then Antonino saying D plus Y, DJ as told you. But this is exactly the point I was just making, Antonino. So I really dislike these tips that people give to people. Like there's a lot of these videos like going around on YouTube saying if you see do you, then you should say do ya, or like do ya, or something like that, or like, you know, pronounce it in this kind of like, it's kind of like a little bit put on. And I think these sounds should really come in a natural way, because it's also like really strange when someone hasn't mastered the English language and the pronunciation and starts like adapting some like kind of pronunciation patterns that native speakers do because they're speaking fluently, then it really sounds like you have some kind of like error in your pronunciation. So I never recommend doing that. I always say kind of like try to pronounce things like the proper way, also because there is like social stigma in many kind of like, you know, contexts where, I don't know, like people, I don't know, come to London and they hear Londoners speak in a specific way and then they start speaking like Londoners, but maybe what they don't know is like there's a lot of kind of like social misconceptions and prejudices about, you know, people who speak in a particular way. So I kind of like always just say try to pronounce things the standard way, and then if it happens naturally that you produce certain sounds that sound more like the sounds that native speakers produce, then it happens naturally, and then it doesn't sound like it's fake, or you just kind of are using sounds that you don't know why they kind of come about in this way. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so Okay, so we have very useful in order to help understanding and listening. Thank you very much, Matilda. I'm happy to hear that. And then Roberta is saying, how do you pronounce ski and privacy? So it's either privacy or privacy. You can say both. I tend to say privacy or privacy. Privacy, maybe more privacy. Privacy, both is acceptable. Sometimes, like, you know, there tends to be a difference between American and British, and now it's like kind of some things are more merging into one. Like some things that used to be more like purely American, for example, you know, like the Antonina, I think you had asked that question on a comment once about dream. I dreamt, or is it like dreamed? And dream, just like that was never correct, but now it's becoming correct because it's like an Americanism that's crept into the British language as well. So some things just like, you know, become adapted across all countries now. And then Daniela saying your pronunciation is very clear indeed, and speaking with the schwa sound makes a difference. Thank you very much, Daniela. And really, like, mastering the schwa sound, really, I agree with you. It makes a huge difference. Also because, you know, like, it just allows you to focus on, in your pronunciation, in your speaking, to put the stress on the words that matter, and to kind of like just gloss over quickly over the words that don't matter, like t and and, you know, like even you, like you becomes like a schwa sound very often. Like Antonino wrote, I told you. I almost never say I told you, like, unless I'm joking with my friends. Well, why are you saying I told you? Well, I told you. I told you yesterday. I told you yesterday. So it becomes more like within a sentence. In the sentence, it becomes this sound. I told you yesterday. So it just in sentences, it really helps. Hi everyone, finally I can chat. Stefania, nice to see you. Okay, and Tiziana is saying you often use kind of like, yeah, this is like tipo, you're right, and it's filler words and it's terrible. It's like saying but it's like instead of saying you just say yeah like, but this is really bad. Like I should grow out of it. So teenagers speak like that, and my teenage days are like, you know, they belong to a different kind of, you know, phase of my life, so I should just outgrow this already. Okay, Antonino saying yes, I remember about dreamed. And then Giuseppe is saying, you mentioned a pronunciation expert. Could you kindly remind us of his name? Of course, he's a wonderful gentleman called Adrian Underhill. Okay, Adrian Underhill, and I think he's got his website. Can you see my website? I don't know if you can see my my browser. I don't think so. I'll just get you the link to his website. Oh, didn't actually copy that across, and I'll copy it into the chat as well, so you can copy it from there. Copy and paste. So this is his website, and I'm going to paste it into our stream as well. There you go, so you can click on that. Okay, and I think we bang on time today. Isn't that great? Hold on, I'm just going to, where is my, oh yeah, this is how I do it. Ta-da, I'm back. Okay, so actually I'm really glad. So this is another advantage of YouTube over Facebook, is that my external software to be able to share my screen does work here, whereas on Facebook, like in the past when I did it for my other page, I always had problems with it, but it may be that I had problems with it, so it was my problem. Okay, so guys, what else is everyone saying? Gotta go, forgive me, bye now. We're all gonna go now, because I've also got my girls taking advantage of the fact that mommy is still like teaching or like doing this class, and they're watching the iPad, and I must go and kind of, you know, like stop them before they start watching I don't know what. Anyway, so let's see who is okay. So Roberto saying Perio, oh no. Roberto, he's so mean. Okay, so because, you know, like I said to you, I've got an accent in Italian and it's not going away. I've been here for 6 years and my accent isn't improving. And my biggest challenge in Italian, and Roberto every day, very patiently, tries to teach me to pronounce this word and I still can't say it properly. And it's, Roberto, you're gonna pay for this. You're gonna sleep on the sofa for like the next 2 months. And that word is periodo. I can't believe you made me say it. Okay, so this is my pronunciation challenge, and I definitely, like, I'm one of those people who always says davvero instead of like saying davvero, so I should work on my own pronunciation as well. But if someone, like, you know, well, Roberto will try and help me with my pronunciation, but if someone wants to offer me free pronunciation lessons, I'll happily take them. What about my name? My name is Antoinette. It's a lovely French name, but I'm not French. Okay, Lisa baby. And Daniela, I'm glad you liked it. Good night. Thank you, Daniela V as well. Good to see you, by the way. I'm happy you made it over to YouTube as well. And Laura and Francesca and Vincenzo. Oh, how lovely, double account. Giuseppe. Okay, Tiziano, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And that's it. Roberto just said good, so it means you've been a good teacher. You've been a very good teacher. But yes, I have my own challenges in pronunciation, but I did, as I always say to Roberto, to my defense, I did come to Italy as an adult person and as a mother, and when you speak English, unfortunately English tends to just take over. It's terrible. It's like a curse, because you can do everything nearly in English, and I still read only in English. I listen to English radio, so it's really bad. I should do more in Italian. And yeah. Oh, Francesca and Vincenzo, we are wife and husband. That's really lovely, really nice. So welcome to the channel as well. Okay, have a good evening, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much, Elisa. I'm glad you liked it, and I'll think of something interesting to do for tomorrow. And thank you for your comments on the Facebook post. I haven't responded yet, but I've seen the comments and really interesting stuff. So we'll start doing these next week. I did say 30 likes on a comment, but like, these ideas are so great, I'm gonna do most of them anyway. Whether they have 30 likes or not, I think they're great, and like, I'll just overrule. Whatever. Okay guys, bye, good night, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.